Welcome back to part 48 of Dr. Inferno Firebird's in-depth walkthrough for how to beat Persona 5. Today we're going to be tackling the Kaneshiro Palace, of which, compared to last time, and this is going to become as quite a shock to you, they have boarded up the main entrance. I mean, I was saying that it's like, hey, Phantom Thieves shouldn't be going through the main entrance, but now we literally cannot. So that is quite unfortunate. We are going to have to find a different entrance into the Kaneshiro Palace, because especially the Phantom Thieves might be able to get through the yellow tape. They can't get through the metal shutter. So yeah, we're gonna have to search all around this courtyard to find out where we need to go to next. Now, there are actually three different statues.
Sorry, let me do my intro. This is Marty. This is episode 48. We're in the third spirit temple, I believe, or palace. We're on the outside.
Yes, that is actually entirely correct. What a trenchant observation, Marty.
Well, thank you.
You're such a smart character, and I'm glad to have you on the team.
Well, I always like to think of myself as the perceptive one. Well, the thing is, I've got these fresh eyes, so it just helps a little bit.
Right, you got those fresh eyes when I brought you in one of the earlier episodes, because you had fresh eyes, and I needed fresh eyes for the series.
How did you get in?
How did we get in? So like I said, there were three different statues there, and you could look at each one of them. But one of them had like a big, giant, incredibly obvious button on it, but it wasn't entirely clear what that might have done until the characters decided to press it. And also they need to have Joker also realize that there was a large button on it, because otherwise perhaps one of the other two interactable objects, or potentially interactable objects in the courtyard, could have been the one that we need to interact with which to get into Kaneshiro's palace. And then after that, it wasn't entirely clear if we were in Kaneshiro's palace, being that this is a gigantic flying bank. We could have gone anywhere, but thankfully Yusuke did say, hey, this appears to be the inside of the bank. And also everybody congratulated Makoto at how insightful she was, being able to see the gigantic obvious button, and then Joker was able to see the gigantic obvious button, which he pressed to be able to get into Kaneshiro's palace.
I do think this is the inside of the bank that you're in right now.
Yeah, I think we had a dialogue option earlier from Yusuke on how this appeared to be the inside of the bank. And then upon walking 5 seconds forward, we were able to see the entrance that we took last time. Meaning that if we just didn't even say that, it would have been obvious exactly in the bank that we were where we were. The bank which we got through the statue that we interacted with in the courtyard because the main entrance was blocked.
So, I've got a question. Why didn't you just go through the main entrance?
Well, you see, we tried to go through the main entrance, but it seemed that Makoto's outburst last time had made it so that we could no longer go through the main entrance. So we needed to find a separate entrance, and to do that, we looked for some sort of interactable object, of which there were only three. Oh, God.
So like a side door or a back door. I see what you're saying. Yeah, that makes sense.
It was actually very similar to a side door and a back door. All we had to do was just find a large button to press to be able to open that up. Though we had to actually look around because there could have been many different places in that courtyard that it would be. But thankfully, there is a dedicated button to be able to find interactable objects.
That's nice. By the way, just breaking the character just for a second. What was that part where you were walking through that field? I mean, like the characters, like breaking down what the characters are doing. Why did you? Where was like Morgana and Makoto, I believe, or Anne? Why were they in that field of grass? Like, what was actually happening there? I don't know.
So you remember last time how we saw like Joker is carrying around that crystal star that we got from Jose back in, like, I don't know, episode 25 or something.
I think I do actually remember that, yeah.
It gave them the magical ability to have a cutscene where that happens. Whatever, this is a royal thing.
Okay, fair enough, yeah.
I mean, and you know, hey, it had been less than 5 seconds since we had a cutscene, since we had to establish that we were, in fact, inside of Kaneshiro's palace and looking for a map so we can find the treasure for Kaneshiro's palace.
Yeah.
Which we got to through a secret entrance in the courtyard of the bank.
By the way,
so we need to have another cutscene really quick.
When you got into the alternate entrance, I don't know if it's a secret, but you had to find it. But
it was indeed secret, as there were so many different places that we could have looked around, and we don't have anything like a dedicated find interactable objects button. So it took me a very long time to figure out where that was.
Yeah, okay, so my question isn't about that. My question is, when you get into the bank, is the clock on the high wall, is that important? This is like 3 minutes back. The viewers will know what I'm talking about. It's like 12 o'clock. Is that important at all?
Oh, I didn't actually notice that. It wouldn't surprise me at all if it was like 12 o'clock as a reference to Persona 3, or it maybe they just just
really?
made the most generic clock.
They didn't want to animate this at the minute hand.
The most generic clock asset possible, and they didn't really care too much about anything else.
Mm-hmm.
I know cell phones in here. You can use that to travel through dimensions. Keep that in mind. There appears to be some sort of elevator here. But what could this elevator possibly mean? Like, are we going to be using this elevator?
I think it's a reference to The Shining.
Oh, it's probably a reference to The Shining.
I heard there was an elevator in The Shining. I haven't actually seen it.
Wait. What are the characters saying?
Oh,
what? We might need to get into this elevator? God, I don't know, man. We already had such a difficult time trying to figure out how to get into the palace in the first place.
I think there's going to be like a security room or something.
Well, remote controlled? Wait a second. We might actually have to go. We can't just go and use the elevator immediately? That seems very unusual for this game.
Well, it seems unusual for elevators in general, but I guess this is like a bank. Maybe this is after hours.
I mean, it is. Hey, we still got Melty Donuts at least. By the way, I bought some donuts today. I had a good time with them. They're little Pershings.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, wait, I don't know why. Every once in a while, I've just been getting those lately.
Not joking. What are Pershings like?
Oh, those are I don't actually know, but they're maybe that's just a thing around here. But they're just basically like sort of like cinnamon bun donuts.
Oh, okay.
Usually have like a chopped peanuts on them.
Oh, that actually sounds really good.
I have no idea why they're called Pershings, but it's like whatever. Maybe that's just a weird Wisconsin thing. Well, anyway.
Those are cool sculptures. By the way, I don't want to like shit on the graphics because God knows everything else, but those graphics are the kind of thing like you're in a graphics course and you build an engine and you got to show it off for a project. That's what a lot of these assets sometimes look like. Even in the palaces. The palaces do have a lot of headroom in them, don't they? Mm-hmm.
Hey, wait a second. What did Joker just do?
I think he pushed the button.
What? Wait, no. What? What do you mean he pushed a button? What? We didn't. Hey, game! You didn't explain what happened there. What? What? I'm so confused.
Well, sometimes in a security building, you got to push the button to raise the budget.
Okay, I'm just gonna say this right now. I hope they don't do that again.
Yeah, that was kind of disappointing. I mean,
that was very, very disorienting. Seeing you push a button and something happened. Like I'm so lost right now.
Yeah, like I don't like. They need to have those cues. Wait, what's happening? No. Oh, okay. I see.
Thankfully, we have actually had many tutorials for this.
Oh, you did actually have tutorials for this. That feels like the kind of thing that like GoldenEye would do, and they just not tell you how to get up there.
Well, at least that was before you had the dedicated Find Interactable Objects button back in the first Palace.
Yeah, I guess that was kind of an innovation in games, like having that, the action button.
Oh, detective sense from the Batman game. Arkham Asylum was the first real obvious example of that, from what I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, somehow. Indeed.
Wait,
this does?
Wait, I think this is they mentioned
I'm very confused as to why there were all these televisions on the wall right now.
Well, I think this is they mentioned something about a security room, and I think this is the monitoring room, so maybe those are two different places. Like, maybe you have to get to the security room from this one. And there's
this was probably not this is probably not the place that actually controls the elevators. But I mean, at least there is stuff like key card that was glowing in the distance as if it expected you to walk over and pick it up, even though it is done entirely in a cutscene right now. And also a map on the wall.
Now, how do we know that map is accurate? Is that representing something? Like, is that representing some aspect of external reality outside the map, or is it just like a picture of the building that you're in?
I mean, it could go either way, really. When we were in Madarame's palace, it was very obvious because there were pamphlets, and pamphlets always are maps of the building that you're currently in. This one could just be like a map of Kanashiro's house.
It could be a map of like Madarame's palace too.
Yeah, that would be a weird twist, actually. They have. Why do they have a flight stick controlling these monitors? But whatever.
Well, actually, that I could totally see that. Like, that would actually be like, well,
Kaneshiro, big fan of flight simulators.
Well, I mean,
see, look, when we had that thing where we pressed that button earlier, I'm so glad they actually explained it this time. It was not entirely clear what that thing on the wall, or how were you even supposed to get out of this area, was supposed to be. Well, we might be able to use it elsewhere? You don't think that's a one-time use keycard, Yusuke? Okay, good.
Like
I was worried for a second.
Button because that kind of removes a lot of the ambiguity, but there's still some ambiguity. By the way, I do want to mention, I like that they've got fully like the keyboard, like the computer keyboard in the monitoring room was ridiculously like high res. Like
super monitors that I say flight simulator, right? Because you got like the full surrounding type of thing too.
Mm-hmm. I also wonder if like the monitors are the monitors actually accurate? This is a serious question. Like,
I don't know. That was something that I guess I probably should have checked on earlier, but that would have been interesting to see. I would guess probably not, because this game doesn't really have that sort of attention to detail.
Yeah, I mean,
sometimes.
Just to be clear,
it certainly has attention to a lot of details, but I don't think that one.
Just to be clear, I'm watching you play right now. This is in real time. We're trying to do this, I guess. I think, you call it a task, or is it just a normal speed run if you're not using a tool?
Well, I would like to say that it's more like a very educated run. Like, I thankfully know exactly what to do at all points in time, but I'm still trying to like experience all of the dialogue and lore and everything like that.
That makes sense. Like, isn't this your third time playing through this?
I think it's actually close to my 7th. I played through it several times on like lower difficulties to be able to understand the story first.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because it's very complicated. Oh, okay. This room is actually very, very difficult to understand. And that is, in fact, an elevator. It's true, Makoto. If you noticed, it is actually directly above the elevator that we saw earlier. It's pretty. And I mean, as you can see from Ryuji, he doesn't even know why we walked into this room in the first place.
Perceptive as usual. We should be able to ride on top of the elevator. Oh yeah.
I mean, the thing is, it's just like the game is trying its best to explain this to you, but even then, it's very not clear what you're supposed to do. I mean,
can you fit through that hole or something? Is that like, are you supposed to go in there?
That's what I'm talking about here. You see, if you walk into this room, you'll notice that there is this hole here. But if you try to go in the hole, it doesn't actually work. You have to go to the side of the hole.
Wait, is that true?
Unfortunately, it is true. And the thing is, they did make it very clear that you are going to be riding on the elevator, especially right there with Yusuke saying that yet again. But it's like, it wasn't really clear if you had to jump down through that hole to get on top of the elevator or what.
So just to be clear, you can't just jump through that hole. You have to press an action button and hit it through a specific angle.
Yeah, it's true.
But that's a key tip for like any of you.
And that is pro tip, because I was stuck there. My first playthrough, hours trying to figure that out. Because I sort of followed what they were saying in the dialogue, where it's like we need to ride on top of the elevator, but I thought maybe we had to go down to the lower level and like break down the bars and then climb on top of the elevator from there or something. It's super not clear.
You're definitely gonna you should write that down for the next run, like, because this is, I mean, this is your probably.
I'll probably pin a comment in the like a video for this, so that it's like people can understand, because man, oh man, hours. It took me hours to figure that out last time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, there's Kaneshiro. Where exactly? I don't know.
Oh, I think what you were saying is that this wouldn't like disqualify you for a speed run. Like, you know, in the is it speedrun.com? I always forget. You know what I'm talking about, though. This wouldn't count as a task.
It's called gofastgamers.net.
Because translators that you have manually programmed are allowed. It's not considered like a cheat.
This is more like manipulation of the video, but I think that if I give them the rides, it would still be okay.
Yeah, okay. Like they need to have like the button presses and make sure that you're not like using a macro. Okay. Yeah, that's
yeah. I do have that still recorded too. Because it's just like, especially in a very like heavily puzzle-based game like this one, it is key that you are not like clearly just following a guide on this.
Wait, with that, why is there a $1 bill on that money bag? I mean, is that like...
I think that it might represent like the greed that Kaneshiro feels in his heart and how that infests every single object that exists inside of the bank. I'm not quite sure past that, though.
Like, I mean, but why is it $1? Isn't this in Tokyo?
No. Maybe. It's not entirely clear. At some point in time, we'll have to go like pay attention to what if the characters say anything about where like the setting of this place is.
Yeah, I mean we're not like in analysis.
Oh wait, what is this?
Let's play.
Yeah, I mean if the characters didn't say anything, it would not be clear at all if there was something on the wall here.
I don't. Oh, so you like that's a button.
Power supply box. Camera. Oh yeah, it's probably for the surveillance cameras. That makes a lot of sense.
You know,
man, imagine if Joker just walked up and kicked that without understanding that it's probably a power supply box with cameras.
You know, it is pretty funny because since you're playing this in Japanese, that was a necessary thing. Like, if you didn't know Japanese,
dedicated interact button, big obvious object on wall.
I mean, the part where it says camera though, like.
We just encountered a camera. There's nothing else that exists in this basement that we can do anything with.
That's fair.
Oh, thank God, Makoto. Episode 48 here. I was still not entirely sure how, like, putting enemies to sleep or whatever worked.
Well, it's weird because, like, Makoto, she should be a novice, right? Like, she's...
You would think so.
Like, why is she giving us advice? Like, has she mastered the combat system already?
I actually, was looking at the cutscene from the last episode, and I noticed that she is in fact carrying a copy of the script.
Oh, okay.
Yep, it says Persona 5 the script. It is roughly the size of 3 phone books stacked on top of each other.
Well, it's
very obvious when you see it.
It's a little bit longer than the Brothers Karamazov. By the way, speaking of which, since you are doing this translation for this project, how many words? I guess there's 2 different counts there. You know, the kana and kanji and stuff, and the English translation. Have you been keeping track of how many words there are in this, or have you done any stats on that?
I do. I could probably get a general stat for that. Got to remember that I do have names for characters so that you know who's talking and everything.
Okay, no, this is a little bit of a work. I
was seriously considering creating like a master translation for the master transcript for the entire thing, and just seeing how many times I use ellipses.
Oh yeah. That'd be interesting.
Which I think would be an interesting usage of my time. Not particularly one that means anything, but it would be interesting.
So I have a genuine dumb question.
There's no dumb questions in Persona 5.
You're not killing people, right? You're not killing like people in the real world, right? These are just like abstractions from the collective unconscious, right?
Oh, they are still conscious.
Oh.
And as we'll see a little bit later here.
You probably.
Wait a second. He just went up and kicked that?
Oh, that's the camera. Oh, right. I remember that. That's been it. That was in the last scene, I think, or a few scenes back. There was also.
Hey, wait a second. It's like
I think that.
Wait a second. How did Joker know that was going to actually kill any of the cameras? He just kicked it, and then afterwards they said that killed some of the cameras. I think that there was probably a little bit of dialogue missing there, because there should have been a little bit more of an explanation as to what exactly that was.
I'm a big fan of like design philosophy. In my day job, I'm actually a web designer. And there's this idea called like skeuomorphic philosophy, where you want to make like I think what they should have done is made the switches like in the shape of cameras, and then like when you press the button, it sort of breaks the lens on the camera.
Well, that would make some sense, but then we wouldn't get to have the characters talking to each other.
No, you still have the explanation. I mean, God, no, you know.
Oh,
okay,
okay, thank God, because it's just like, you know, imagine if like every one of the tutorial scenes was like that last one where you just went up and you interacted with the power box, and then somebody said that did this afterwards. Like, God, I would be so lost right now.
Wait,
I could not figure out what was going on at all.
You said tutorial. Is that a one of those Undertale references? Like,
yes, of course.
Because your name is Sans Undertale. Oh, okay, yeah.
This is roughly like this episode is roughly the series is roughly 50% reference. Wait, what? What happened? What happened? The main character just walked up and kicked that box and something, and it showed like cameras. What was that supposed to mean? Oh my God! I think the game was like falling apart here.
Well, I think there were similar things where when you kicked it, like it did straight some of the cameras, but you don't know because it could be like this could be turning them on. I guess
those could be like cameras in Madarame's palace.
Who's Madarame? Oh, the artist. That's right.
Yeah. I think he was the art. Oh man, if only we could remember.
I have trouble.
I've entirely forgotten who Madarame was. I just said that name because of a verbatim.
My name. I actually, I don't know if you've ever seen. Well, what's that movie? Oh, I can't remember the name of the movie. I was right. I tattooed it. It's Antamem or something.
Yes.
Okay. Something I'm supposed to remember about these tattoos.
I think you might have killed your wife, but don't take my word for it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna get like the more powerful characters talking to each other here. Which, I mean, I told you that it's like these guys got their own personality and everything, but it includes them, I don't know, talking to each other occasionally.
Oh,
it's not like, they're chatting just I don't know, whatever. Anyway, they were talking about two keys, which is super not clear what that could possibly be. I mean, it's like, what do keys even have to do with this?
I always hate it when I don't understand like why do guards talk about the password that they're like
which has happened 3 times so far in this game now.
I mean, well, no, I just don't know why are they having.
Oh, thank God, Yusuke. I was so worried that we wouldn't get that we would completely misunderstand what would happen by kicking that there. Oh man. It's like that last time that I kicked one of the power boxes, it's like I was seriously afraid they were going to continue on with that.
Oh yeah, because some of them turn on, like sometimes it's like an alarm. It's like, what if there was like a camera trained on one of those buttons? And then
that would make a lot more sense than not having that, but this is also a palace.
Well, that's why you need to use like the braid mechanic or something, I think.
Yeah, there's actually like a real question. It's like, what do the safe rooms represent in here? It's like normally they're supposed to be a place where there's like little distortion and it's kind of more or less a real room that exists inside of the place that is that the palace is at. But it's like this. There's not a flying bank in Shibuya. So what do the safe rooms represent in here?
By the way, if you were paying attention to Makoto's dialogue, you'd know that the map does apparently represent this place. I don't know which map they're talking about, but there's some map that does represent this place.
I suppose so. Also, we do need 2 keys to enter this door.
Well, what do you do when you... Well, how do you know that? They've just told you that there's...
Oh, they just said that we do need 2 keys to enter this sort of door, and like they were mentioning that some of the shadows earlier might have been talking about I wasn't paying attention.
Oh, okay.
Maybe something... Maybe if we went and listened to those shadows a little bit more, but as Morgana said, it's true. We would have to deactivate those cameras first. Because there are cameras there, and we only deactivated half of them so far.
I was distracted thinking about the artist's temple when the guards were having a conversation about passwords, but they might have been having a conversation about keys as well.
Yes. I mean, passwords, keys, pass keys, key cards, they're all impossible to keep together. I mean, are they all supposed to unlock something? Are they just metaphorical? But thankfully, the game does tell you whenever you get a key, like how it is supposed to be used. I mean, I played Doom before, and you got like a key card, and then there were like these doors that were the same color, and I had to give up because I couldn't figure out what to do.
Yeah, I always had trouble. I never finished Doom.
It was impossible to say like what when you get a key card, like what you're even supposed to do with it. But that's why that's old game design. Modern game design clearly much better. They've improved that a lot.
I believe it was it John Carmack who was fired for that key card debacle?
Yeah, he was not only fired, he was fired out of a cannon into the sun.
Good. I mean, you never want to say good to that, but I sometimes
I don't know, man. I hear that Doom is supposed to be a very good game, but it was because of his fault that I was unable to experience it, so I don't feel too much sympathy for him.
That's true. You know, because if it's such a great game, I mean, why don't you want us to experience your game?
Yeah, why wouldn't you let me complete it?
Mm-hmm.
At least Persona, except for those times where you just kind of kick boxes and they don't tell you what happens. Oh boy, I'm shuddering thinking about it again. That it's just like, they make it very clear what's going on. It's one of the really great things about this game.
I did actually go back and do a task on my channel, which you guys can check out. We'll put the link in the description. Where
Buttman69.
I found like a task to go through the keycard thing in Doom. It kind of.
How do you actually do it?
Well, it just gets rid of the key door, so you don't.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Like, there's no barrier.
Yeah. Okay. That's that. You're gonna have to send me that a little bit later so that I can actually finish that game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's weird. That game you can beat in like only a couple hours. Can't even imagine people paying full price for that back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I look at like I look at it like this. Like, I take the price of the game and then I divide it by the number of hours it takes me to beat them, and then that gives me a time, like a kind of a, how many dollars did I pay for per hour, and the lower that number is, the better a deal that I've got.
Yeah, and then I compare that to how much I make per hour, and I'm like, I had to work in my job this long to get this much entertainment. Let me tell you, Persona been perfect for that. Like every minute that I worked to pay for that, it's just like has translated into like at least 10 minutes of primo dialogue like this.
The only thing is, recently I've been thinking about it.
Like, actually, that was kind of weird.
What about the gas
mileage? Why didn't they say anything?
To work? Like, you got to take that into account too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, really,
didn't even think about that.
Few of those like little tricks, like food and stuff.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. If only the Phantom Thieves told me that it's like you don't always spend every part of your day working. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because
if only the real life worked like Persona.
Well, of course we're doing this. This is our job. I don't get paid as much as I'm not on as many channels, and I'm not as popular as your channel.
Yeah. I mean, don't worry, the check's in the mail.
Okay, yeah. I need that, by the way, just by.
I know you were gonna ask. You were asking before this, and I was like,
you kind of put me off. You kind of like said, well, we'll get to that, and I'm glad I forced the issue, and you're answering.
Oh yeah. I mean, don't worry about it. I know that it's like it might seem kind of awkward, but I have calculated how much money we have made over the course of this entire series, which comes to roughly 20 cents. Okay, and yeah, I have sent you a cashier's check with my name on it in the mail.
Yeah, because thanks for that, because the last one didn't cash, so that's.
No, I mean, you should have told me earlier.
Oh well, it's one of those collect checks where I've got to pay you.
You did do it though. That would be very embarrassing if you just gave that to a cashier and then you didn't pay, right? So I'll have to reimburse you in the next check.
The cashier. Sorry, I've got a terrible cough here. So the thing with the cashier's check is that you hand it over to the cashier and it's their check now. And you write for deposit only on there, and you say, you kind of vouch for it. and they can put it into their own account or not, whatever they want to do with it. It's their money at that point.
Yeah, it's their check now.
Yeah,
they own it.
You know,
they own you.
I sometimes wonder if you can combine that with a collect. The collect checks where they gotta pay you, and then
I've heard about CODs before, but I'm not quite sure what they are.
Well, but see, what you do is you then is a COD an opposite of an IOU, by the way? But yeah, no. So like what you do is you trick the cashier into accepting like your collect checks, and then they've got to pay you. So it's like then you have part of their job.
And now you own part of their soul.
Yeah. The only problem is I tried that once, I think, and it worked, but I ended up getting hit with a $4 like I'm sorry, it was like more like a sorry, my zeros are off. It was more like $120 like fee for an overdraft, so it didn't really work out at the end.
Every time with the overdraft fees.
Because you got to withdraw 20.
That's why I just keep all my money under my bed.
Yeah, it's because I actually had to take 20 cents from a different account because that's the fee for the cashier's check, but that triggered an overdraft, and they're really insistent on that.
Yes, here's where Makoto has a brilliant plan of splitting up the two guards, as we cannot possibly fight two of them, by going back to the previous room and just yelling at them.
Are there any women?
And saying things like, please send only one person. And then this. Oh, yeah, look at that. Look at that animation. Oh, look at it go. This is why we don't get more really active cutscenes, everybody.
I think what you need, that was like a kind of a Donkey Kong thing, like where you'd have like two Koopas, or what are they called?
Also the way that it was super slow compared to what you would normally expect out of running. And had to have 3 cuts there?
No, what I was thinking is like it'd be like one of those where the lizards like are doing one of those comical things, like they're trying to open a door and they both open the same door at the same time and then run into each other as they're trying to get through the opposite direction. It's kind of a comical skit.
No, yes, the old school slapstick type of
Yeah,
deal.
exactly.
Well, anyway, of course, there was absolutely no way we could have fought both of those guys at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose diegetically it makes some sense, but Makoto's plan was we're going to split these guys up.
Dia what? What?
Whatever.
Sorry, you're not. I'm sorry, we've talked about this. You're not supposed to use the words that I wouldn't have gotten, that I wouldn't know. I mean, I know that there's the viewers and stuff, but I've got to be in on this too. You can't just do like.
All right, fine. Thankfully, they give you many, many confirmation messages every single time you head to some place, or after you, before you start up another fight. After immediately giving a confirmation message, there's a lot of really great stuff like that makes it that makes Persona 5 just a joy to play at every single point.
Well, it's the skeuomorphic design. Sometimes they get it right.
Oh, the Shadow actually figured out that their duplicitousness. I can't even believe that. Usually that's something that is reserved entirely for the Phantom Thieves.
I don't know what that word means, and we've talked about this, but
damn it. Yeah, you did just say.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I mean, it's your channel. Your channel, your rules. That's what I always say. But I guess that's me making a rule, so that's hypocritical.
That's true. So, as in my channel, there are no rules.
But that's a rule itself. So this is like...
is it?
This is one of those memento things.
Think about it. Memento?
You can't cross... you can't...
Hey, did you just forget your own shtick that you were doing?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I realized it was
Oh, great. The kayfabe's been dropped.
No,
we gotta talk about maps again.
What are you talking about? No, I realized I needed to look in the mirror.
Yeah, I was looking at the man in the mirror. That has nothing to do with anything. I just thought of that right now.
Yeah, that's a good reference.
Well, anyway,
this game sucks.
Look, there's an elevator that leads down. The treasure must be past there. This fucking game, man. Oh, we're done. I'm done with this. I'm throwing this game in the trash, except I'm not because I can't. We're entirely dedicated to doing this at this point in time.
I'm not. I'm dedicated to helping you.
Yeah, that's true. You're not actually dedicated. Oh and I suppose I did actually look at the thing to see if they were accurate. No, it looks like they're just like glossy JPEGs up there.
I'm dedicated.
Oh my god, this is the most mind-numbing episode of Persona yet. I want to say it's just, and doing shtick here while fun is not helping this at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anybody's gonna complain. This is episode 48 right now. It's not like people are gonna be like, oh, I can't believe you're so mean to this game. No, but it's just like, oh god, I'm dying here with this fucking dialogue.
You know, it is funny because I just finished playing Ace Attorney, the trilogy, the original trilogy for the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Have you played that?
I've not.
Okay, well, we should talk about it another time. I'm seeing this is almost over, but it's a lot
I got like
better.
20 seconds left.
That's the punchline.
Oh yeah, that we don't have enough time in this series that's like 500 episodes long.
No, I mean we can discuss it in a future episode, but the punchline of that anecdote was going to be that is a lot better game.
That's not really even a punchline. That's just true.